あてめえぶっ殺す
When it comes to Bruno's group fighting against La Squadra, I've always felt that Narancia versus Formaggio was an overlooked one because of the future fights that came and how much people don't really mention it. Narancia's character gets a huge defining moment, and we see Formaggio in general, who I really do like, and how the anime had portrayed him, aside from the design changes, but you know, to each their own. I'll miss you forever, original Formaggio. I really will. But since people won't put on for this arc, I'll be the one to do so. Now, this starts with Narancia and Fugo's character, with Fugo's directions and all of that, but I want to start with Formaggio's character and his first interaction with Narancia. From what we get, Formaggio isn't one to immediately pull the trigger on a situation. From when Narancia finds him and to when he's addressing who he is, he's maintaining a completely cool demeanor, but the fact that he's already in Narancia's car without Narancia noticing shows the conditioning that he's putting onto him. Since Narancia's job is to go to the store and come back undetected, he's extremely on edge since someone was able to get into the car without him even knowing. The idea that he could have been tailed this whole time is what's getting to him, and he doesn't want to let the team down, specifically Fugo, because Fugo was already weary on letting Narancia go. Now, what had highlighted the scene was when Formaggio was addressing the Polpo situation. He makes a joke on Polpo and how they cremated him, specifically focusing on how they said they would have had to chop him up to make it work. What had made this massively interesting to me is that I believe that this is Formaggio finding an area of ease on what happened to Sorbet and Gelato. One of his closest members was completely hacked to pieces, so to try to make the situation lighter, he thinks of it being someone else and how it looks when it's not them. Formaggio has always been one to be like that because he finds fun in tormenting his enemies more than anything. But when it comes to his own members or him, he draws the line right there, obviously. Once he gets Narancia to lower his guard a bit because he's cracking jokes to him, he immediately switches up the mood and strikes him to make this interrogation a lot more serious. And what happens after the interrogator strikes the person being investigated? Stand battle, because we've been through this. Now, on Narancia's attack on Formaggio, I had already shown that I had interest in the scene in specific, but now I have time to talk about it. Narancia's anger is an attribute about him that I just love so much. Aerosmith alone is this constantly attacking stand with so much firepower to dish out, but Narancia alone wants to get this anger out so bad that he starts attacking the car by kicking it. And it could also be that he's also blockading another exit. This is just raw emotion set aside from the determination that he has for the group's orders. Formaggio's original position as an interrogator was just completely destroyed by Narancia's onslaught. Now, I could talk about the fight itself here, but the biggest thing to take away are the two forces fighting against each other. The first one being Narancia's determination, and what combats that is Formaggio's drive filled with the intent of revenge. The fight began with Formaggio on the defensive, but with him being on the defensive, he was figured out sooner or later, which led to him taking more initiative, and even then, he was passively using Little Feet. He realized that Narancia's determination was much more oppressive in comparison to Formaggio's energy. Then, he takes control of the fight because he noticed he needed to match Narancia. But while torturing Narancia and having flashbacks to the torture that Sorbet and Gelato had faced, taking this back to the manga, Narancia takes back control of the fight convincingly. Thing is, Formaggio couldn't match the wildfire that is Narancia's ambition, nor could he understand where Narancia stands in terms of intelligence. While Formaggio flip-flopped between offensive and defensive thinking, Narancia has been on this constant drive that only goes forward because of how dead set he is on fulfilling this mission. This pure ambition that cannot be contained by any stand user. I could go even further out and say that the huge fires and the mess that have happened in the fight is somewhat like Narancia's energy because of how insane and powerful they are. But all of this for his group. He cannot disappoint these people that have done so much for him so that he never has to be like how he was originally. These are true men, that's what he believes. Not only are the lives of the group at stake, but the future of the group too. All of this rides on Narancia's shoulders, and he can't let Bruno and Fugo down. Though Narancia doesn't truly carry this as any type of burden, it's what drives him, and this drive is the reason why he's beating Formaggio. Now, we're here at the end of the fight, which is basically the majority of episode 11 in my opinion because of how well Narancia had played it. Throughout this fight, Formagio's reluctance on fighting Narancia directly or confronting him had ended up being the exact reason why he never had a chance at winning at all. Beating around the bush with his intentions and trying to play mind games didn't do much for him in the grand scheme of things because Narancia isn't someone where these types of things can work on him. His thinking is too wild and unorthodox to be conditioned. So seeing Formagio approached like this, and like Narancia is like any other normal person, ended up being his exact demise. What's interesting about the shift in Formagio's decision making is that he's looking a lot more like early Narancia here with how angry he was. He also had thought he had cornered Narancia in the same way that he had been cornered, but instead Narancia lights up the entire block and continues to have a heavy lead on Formagio. He might be more intelligent than Narancia, but he doesn't have the same drive nor the wall breaker mentality that Narancia has. Now when Formagio wants to finally meet Narancia on an even playing field, he's not only already beaten up but also at a disadvantage because he's never really been one to fight off in standoffs like this. Meanwhile, Narancia has just been the better position of this for the majority of the fight. Now it's a contest of speed and who's going to be the fastest draw. Both characters have stands with a B in speed, but this standoff isn't 1 in speed and stand stats are kind of odd. This standoff is a product of the entire battle, so now it's about who is truly leading in all of this. And we knew who's been on top the whole time. So, as Formagio falls and tells Narancia about the future danger to come towards the group, trying to put some fear into him, Narancia can only think of one thing. That even with winning this fight, he still lost the mission. The gangster life is truly a difficult one. Thank you all for watching. Now, normally this is supposed to be an area where I just end off the video, but I've always wanted to talk about this, but it was never actually long enough to make into a video, so since it's Narancia related, I'm going to be putting it here. For those that are anime only, I hope you enjoyed the video, but it would be in your best interest to click off now because I'm going to be getting into spoiler territory by analyzing an area of the opening. Now, this is a specific area of Fighting Gold where we see Narancia shifting through the sides, but when I'd seen the pattern in the eyes, I made a few connections that I believe make sense. We have Narancia with both eyes, then his left is gone, then both, then right is gone, then left is gone, then none. When he first has both eyes, I believe that this is him after he had left his dad and joined his new friends. He believed that this is going to be his new outlook on life and that's how things are. And then the police situation had happened, then his left eye had become infected and his so-called friend had spread rumors on him. That's why we have the left eye being gone. Then he has both eyes, which is after meeting Fugo and Bruno and the help he had received from the two, fixing his eye and having this new view on life where he's supposed to look up to people like Bruno and he believes that Bruno is what you should strive to be. Now his right is gone, and this is going back to part 6 of the mystery of King Crimson, to where it's Narancia choosing sides. It goes from his right being gone to his left being gone. Off this and how he was positioned dead set in the middle between the group and Fugo, the eye symbolism here is based on his decision making, first looking to Fugo and then the group, and then it's finalized with his decision on going to the group and what came out of it with him having no eyes there. And we all knows what happens just when he does join the group and goes on to do stuff like that. I also thought it was hinting to the whole scene because you do see more shadow being added into Narancia when he's being flipped through and all that, and it would make sense as to why it's just no more eyes, he's just no more, doesn't have to deal with any of his views being shifted over and left and right and all that, but that's just my take on it. So again, thank you all for watching. I hope to make more videos soon. I have a bunch of stuff set up, and I didn't do the consistency thing that I had planned out for Christmas, but you know, I'm gonna be carrying it out anyways. Like every video that I had planned for in December, I wasn't able to do it back to back because honestly that was just so draining. But I am going to upload those videos anyways. I'm going to go about it in a timely manner, and I will see this through because I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep on doing what I was doing. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I know you all want Steel Ball Run videos now. Expect a part 8 video soon. I'm just doing stuff now. I'm going to be following up. So yeah, thank you all. Let's enjoy the journey to get there. So until then, peace out and Godspeed.